Welcome to the London Horror Movie Club. I'm horror writer Lauren Jane Barnett.
And I'm Chris Sapikowski, Lauren's older brother, and I've been watching horror movies since I was 8.
Join us as we talk about the wild, weird, and wonderful horror films set in England's eerie capital.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This month, Chris and I are joined by writer and director behind films like A Day of Violence, Beyond Fury, Three Tickets to Hell, and the upcoming Lottie. And he's also worked with remarkable actors like Ian McCulloch, Giovanni Radice, and David Warbeck. Welcome to the London Horror Movie Club, Darren Ward.
Hi guys, thank you for having me on board. No, it's great. I've been seeing your podcast come up over the last few months, and I've really been looking forward to it. So ready to answer those questions.
Oh, amazing. We're so excited to have you. And there's quite you've done so much that it was hard to pick a first question. And so I thought what I'd do is I'd just take you way, way back to the beginning of your career and go, one of your first films it was a short, and I'm gonna pronounce it wrong because my Spanish or Italian is terrible. Para il Diablo.
Peor il Diavolo, yeah. Fear the evil, fear the evil.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, okay, so if I go back a couple of years previous to that, just to get in, I mean, I started making short movies with a group of sort of older guys that I met through someone. Well, I'll start again, right? Okay, so I left school in 1989, so I was 16, and at the time, our local video rep, a friend of mine, said, "Oh, he hears that you've got a lot of Italian imports of Dario Argento movies and wanted to do some swaps." So I go along and meet this guy, and we were swapping movies, and he said, "Oh, a friend of mine's looking for someone to have their neck." Cast and bitten out by a zombie in a short movie called Dead Time. So this is 1989, and I was well up for that. Yeah. Get my neck cast, and all of. So and Alistair Vardy, he was local, and I've always lived in Southampton, well, the coast in England, and Alistair is also local to me, about a 20-minute drive away. And I met up with these guys. So I was 16 and they were about 20, 21 at the time. And he was trying to get into doing makeup special effects. So I had my neck cast, and, and from 89 to 91, we did about 15 short movies. We went to gangster, to crime movies, and I'd get a phone call. "What are you doing this weekend?" Not much. Do you want to come and blow shit up? I want to practice. Alistair at this point decided he didn't want to do makeup special effects anymore. He wanted to go into pyro special effects, and he's mixing up his black powders and all these different things, and we'd have it strapped to us with plates on, and we would just blow stuff up and run around with fake guns, and at the end of it, we might have a 10-15 minute massacre sequence that we shot in 2 days, and it went on like that. And I decided in when I got my first video camera, it was a Panasonic M7, and it used to take full-size VHS cassettes, so you just shoot as you go and edit as you go in some cases. So getting back to your question with Paolo Il Davolo, yeah, I started it in 91, and it was just me, a few friends, the camera, a little bit of lighting, filming at our parents' houses because we're still sort of like 18 then, still at home. And it was great. We just get throw a lot of blood around, and from there, I kind of and I love. I've already mentioned I loved Italian horror. Let's just go back a little bit. I mean, I grew up in that video boom of the home video market, and so yeah, sometimes I would sneak down on a Sunday morning and watch what my dad had hired out the evening before, and so I did catch the odd cannibal movie and the odd zombie movie quite young, and rather than be, oh my god, this is, yeah, they were gruesome for the time, and that I guess some of them are still now quite graphic, but I was fascinated by the special effects myself and their camera work and everything. And I also grew up kind of watching a lot of the Hammer movies that used to be BBC Two used to broadcast. I'm sure you heard all this from, from Tony Marden. But, that's the UK kind of background of in the early 80s, growing up with horror, was what was on TV, what you could sneak and see from your parents hiring out on VHS. And, I gravitated to the violence and the gore, and it was all great and great fun. So when it came to sort of making my own movies, especially with the shorts and then later on with the crime trilogy, it was putting on the screen elements of what I loved and what I was seeing at the time, and put it in one great big cauldron, and guns and violence and blood and explosions and this, and giving it a good stir, and tipping in a dollop of Italian splatter and atmosphere, and and that's what we try and do. So yeah, I made 3 short movies, Peor il Diavolo, and then a short, it was like a 70-minute Giallo called Blue Fear. That was 1993 that came out. And then in 94, I did a short action piece called Bit of Vengence. That came around from, there used to be in London and Piccadilly every year the Bava Awards. It was British Amateur Video Awards, and it used to be hosted by Jeremy Beadle, who was very famous in the UK early in the 80s and the 90s for Game for a Laugh and other sort of like shows that he did, where they'd pull pranks on people live and all the rest of it. So he was the host there, and one of the restrictions with Bava was, if I remember rightly, your film couldn't be any longer than 17 minutes. So again, still with just the Panic on M7, and we've got a friend of mine got a Panasonic M10. And the difference for that is the viewfinder was in color and it recorded in stereo, not just mono. So, we were flying, and and Alistair had gone on, and had just started to do a couple of TV shows. He did a TV show called Paradise Club, and he blew up a car, and it was a great scene with an alleyway, and the car went up in the air. It was flying along with his explosives and getting better and better, and so I made Bit of Vengence, a 17-minute sort of piece that we kind of set up a couple of the loose characters, and it revolved around 3 characters of Randall, the sort of drug overlord, Jimmy, his right-hand man, and Walker, who is a hired assassin, mercenary, hitman, whatever you want to call it. So with Bit of Vengence, we had a quick setup in an office. Here's the guys, right? I want you to go and do a job for me. They double cross him, and basically it gave me an excuse to do a lot of slow-mo, Sam Peckinpah, John Woo, blood squibs, splatter, and people were riddled with bullets. And we had great fun. We shot in a lime pit outside of Salisbury, down in the south, and that was great because we just had this great big lime quarry, and I think with a bottle of Bacardi, the owner said, "Yeah, you can do what you like down there for a couple of weekends." So we blew cars up, we did all sorts of stuff, everything we could throw at, and I think it cost about £600 to make, because everyone just threw in stuff for free. It's just like, oh, I want to be part of this, and that kind of camaraderie of doing smaller movies, is where everyone, I don't just have a job that stops, everyone just jumps in, and we had a ball. We were still young, making, just blowing stuff up. And Bit of Vengeance got very highly commended by the judges at Bava. That kind of, one of their comments led on to what I kind of, it's taken me on a 25-year journey since. Is one of the judges said, highly commended. I would love to see how the characters of Randall, Jimmy, and Walker become a feature. And that got me instantly thinking, okay, right, that'd be interesting. So let's make a feature film. And that kind of draws a line to like up to 1995. So from like 89 to 95, I did about 15 short splatter movies with a group of friends that only a couple have stayed in doing films. Others, you know, you grow up, you get married, you have kids, and you know, you don't always get to keep doing what you want to do. But luckily, I have a full-time job myself, but I'm still here making movies when I can. You know, I'm not very prolific because I don't like. Since I started doing my features, I'm going to shut up in a minute and let you guys talk. I'm really, really sorry. You see
This is
what I mean?
great.
You open the gates, I don't shut up. So anyway, I'm going to stop and over to you guys.
No, I loved it. I mean, it's so you started making movies with these guys, and you said that everybody kind of goes their own way. Is there any piece of your brain that's like we should get back together and try to do something? You know, do you
Well,
still keep in touch with those guys?
yeah. I'm still in touch with them, and Alistair Vardy, since gone on and does all the Hollywood movies, and you know, his first feature that was Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels, Guy Ritchie, and then he went on to do Snatch. He went on to do a couple of the later Die Hard films. I think it was 4 and 5. The last. Oh, I mean, loads and loads. I mean, if you look at his IMDb list, it's just huge. But the last few years, the last 5 or 6 years, he's heavily been doing. You know, he was on Game of Thrones and doing all the special effects, the weather effects, and and all that sort of stuff on big TV shows and that as well. At the moment, he's over in Ireland working on the live How to Train Your Dragon. But I'm lucky that he still lives local. He's only sort of like max less than an hour away from me in a car. And when I trundle around, and with each feature film I do, he's always managed to be there, and and do the set pieces that I need him there to do. Apart from on the last movie, Beyond Fury, but I guess we get to that. I ended up having to do a lot of that myself because he was stuck on the last season of Game of Thrones in Ireland, and the guys just couldn't get back. It was just solid there. It was 3 years solid. So, and that was kind of at the point we were getting around to our big set pieces, but yeah, we go back to that. But yeah, so I do still see them, and Andy Tiley, who used to be part of that initial. I still catch them at the barbecues at Alfro's. We still get together, maybe only once or twice a year, but we're still in contact. So yeah, no,
Great.
it's great. You know, it is great.
You talked a little bit about with the short films that how much you liked like Italian horror, and you named a few great directors and stuff like that. Were there any films that you particularly watched and you were like, oh, I definitely want to try and like recreate that effect, or like did it give you an idea for another effect? Was there something you could draw a parallel between a specific movie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in Peora, there's a transformation sequence where this guy there's an explosion at the bottom of his garden, and he goes down and finds his 500-year-old duffel bag, and inside it is like a little scripture, and he reads it, and it tells him not to look inside the bag, and of course he does. So he looks inside the bag, and then hey presto, there's a little demon in there, and he gets possessed, and he changes into this demon. So I kind of nabbed a few of the camera shots and ideas from Lamberto Bava's Demons with the fingernails coming off, because that was kind of still quite fresh, and so many things really. Camera work, lighting. But with Peora, it was just mainly let's get the demon done and get that So we had bladder effects going on, and there's like we did a fake finger, so you get then a longer fingernail burst through. And it's just little cutaway shots, and then it kind of worked for something. I mean, if you were to show any of it now, I'd probably hide and cringe, and it's just sort of it's it's a long, long time ago, but I don't forget that stuff, and it was great making it. Absolutely, it's what got me started. And believe it or not, when those first two movies were made, Peora and Blue Fear, I actually, from my bedroom at my parents' house, I had covers designed, and I went down a local print shop and had 25 to 30 covers printed off, got loads of VHS stuff, and I used to sell them through like backs of fanzine magazines. So, and even now, I've still got folders with letters I got back from people in 1991, 92, saying how much they like these movies. I mean, I keep all my film stuff. I got everything. It's just, yeah. So that was, and then with Blue Fear, because it was like a giallo. Then of course I'm influenced by Argento, Umberto Lenzi, Mario Bava, Sergio Martino, Ruggiero Deodato. I mean, all those guys at some point were getting played continuously on my VHS, and going back frame by frame. And how do they do that? And terrible. I used to wear tapes out on the gore effects, just trying to go frame by frame, because you didn't have that picture perfect that you got today, where you just skim through and it's HD. It's just you know what it's like now. If you put a VHS back on, it looks awful. If you know, did you used to watch that? But yeah, I used to go through and just learn, and then of course, because I loved the effects, I wanted to not direct immediately. I wanted to do special effects myself. So I would get, I've got a couple here from back in the day. I got Tom Savini's makeup books here somewhere. They are in here somewhere, but maybe I can't find them right now. But Grand Illusions, and then obviously many years later, Grand Illusions 2. But it's Savini's first book, I guess, for a lot of budding filmmakers, or because I really don't know. I mean, I love doing the camera work, and I love doing the special effects, and I love, as it went on to direct and that as well. But it's like, oh, you can't do all of them, really, or can you? But no, you can't really. But yeah, so it was. Yeah, so when I had the camera, it was always, I didn't, my movies, I hate just locked off static shots that do nothing. Even if we're talking, something's got to be moving, it's got to be doing something. And that is just through my love of Italian movies, and as well as the horror and splatter. I mean, I love and I still do love, Italian westerns, spaghetti westerns. Sergio Leone, Sergio Corbucci, Sergio Solima. I mean, there's so many. That's just the famous Sergios. But I've got stacks. I still collect the artwork, the original posters. I got Blu-rays. I've managed to work with a couple of actors that did a lot of spaghetti westerns as well. So I feel really blessed with that. And I guess we can talk about those famous actors a bit later. But yeah, so my kind of love of cinema is many genres. But personally, when I want to write and direct a movie, yeah, I love comedy as much as the next person, but it's not what I want to make as a filmmaker. I'm drawn to the darker side of stuff. I kind of find it easy to write. I feel very au fait with it, comfortable with it. Yeah, so my actual work is, there's very black humor injected in them. If you can pick up on some of the stuff, then you'll just see it and know it's there. But I don't go for intentional laughs. You may laugh at some of the early movies. I don't blame you. I laugh at them, but no, I'm kind of like, as a filmmaker, I want to have fun on set. So yeah, it's just like a big party, really. And I guess I'm lucky. I've been making films 30 years. A lot of my crew have been there with me from the very start, and they're with me now, and they'll be with me when we shoot Lottie. And the same with actors. My main lead actor in 6 movies was Nick Rendell, or also known as Nick Roberts for Beyond Fury. He changed his name, but I guess we can talk about that. later on why he changed his surname for Beyond Fury. But yeah, so going forward now, it's very interesting because I'm on a new path completely. New cast, not my usual leading man. It's, but yeah, so it's exciting times going ahead with Lottie because it is a female lead, which spins it all on its head for me because it's very testosterone type movies that I've made in the past, and with the action stuff, it's very they're very violent. They are very violent, and maybe women don't get so much of a good deal in some of my previous films. So I thought going forward with my new movie, I want to have a female lead, and I want the ladies to get revenge on the men, and have the ladies kicking some ass. But yes, and I know I've gone off on a tangent, so you might want to pull me back to Lottie. So I'll pause and let you jump in. Sorry.
Well, I'm curious to know. You were talking when you started and going forth. You talk a lot about the effects and the blood splatter in the crime films. When you're writing a movie, are you trying to like? How difficult is it to go the story and put in those special effects, or do you kind of say, "I have a great idea for this special effect," and then kind of write the story around it?
Uh, Very, very easy. They're just part and parcel. I'm writing a scene, and okay, so I, it's obviously like sorry, it's like writing any particular sequence. I don't have hang-ups when it comes to, oh, how am I going to just do this? I will just stop at that point and just work out what I'm going to do at that point. And I don't censor myself at the point of writing the script either, because otherwise that holds you back. So if a guy's going to walk in here and behind me in a minute, 15 people plow in, and then I'm going to turn around with a chainsaw and just take them all out, then that's what I'd write. It kind of comes like that. I don't stumble with it, and whether that's a good or bad thing or something to be proud of, I don't know. But no. I mean, I'm not that guy off screen. I don't go run with chainsaws, and I work for the NHS, for God's sake. I've worked for the NHS for 33 years, and I do IT. But when I make movies, they're very dark and violent and upset some people, and then you got that other side of the fans that clamour for more of that. Why didn't you make that more violent? Give me a break. So each one, I don't know if you've noticed, and I don't know if you've seen all three of the films, but they kind of ramp up rather than sort of as I've got older, you think they might sort of peter out and become a little bit. They just get worse. I don't know why. I'm not anymore. I'm disturbed than I was back 30 years ago, but they just get more and more crazy. I wish I could just, if I could send you a script of Lottie and you read that, I've sent. No, it's very bizarre because I don't think anything of it because I just write my scripts. And normally, once I've written the script, I will immediately give it to my key cast and my DOP and stuff. And I don't tend to farm it out to other directors or other people outside of that film loop to kind of read. But I have with Lottie. I don't know. Maybe that is just a different new thing for me. But I have, and the feedback I've got is just going back to your question. I'm sorry it's so long to answer it, but the feedback I've been getting on Lottie is people can't believe how descriptive the page is, and it's like, dude, it's just like I can absolutely visualize everything you're saying because you've put that out on the page. So I kind of write how I'm kind of describing it. I don't kind of hold it back. But you think there'd be reams and reams of it? No, there's not. Average script length for me is 90 pages. But no, I don't find it difficult at all. I find it very easy, and I can only assume that's because last 40 odd years of watching high octane movies, and and I'm terrible. I wish there's something in my brain I could switch off. Like like watching a movie. Now I can't just watch a movie. I haven't been able to do it for decades. I'm constantly thinking how they did the shot, how they're doing the effect. It kind of takes me out of every film that I watch. Not because the films are boring. I'm just from a filmmaker. I'm just constantly ticking over, and it really does my head in. Because
I was going to
I
ask, is it
analyze
hard to watch
everything.
movies? Yeah.
And I can describe a special effect that I want and probably how to do it to a T, because I've just been surrounded by the stuff I've been doing, guns and pyros and blood hits and explosions and splatter scenes. After you've done so many, you know what camera works, angles work. You know how to shoot it, what looks good, what doesn't. And for me, everything has to be hyper realistic. I don't like, especially with my crime trilogy, the early stuff, it just was what it was. But with the features and that, no, it has to be believable. It has to, because I'm terrible. If I watch something and it jumps out because it looks fake, it kind of throws me straight out. I kind of think, well, if I can do it on my minuscule budgets, why can't you guys with the big budgets, do it? And I'm terrible. I'm terrible. So everything's got to be hyper realistic. I'm not a diva, but the guys know it's just got it's just got to look real.
So when you, in terms of like this natural flow of writing, then when you wrote Sudden Fury, did you know it was going to be a trilogy, part of a?
No. Right, okay, this is very interesting. You'll get a very long answer. But Sudden Fury, okay. So Sudden Fury came off the back of Bitter Vengeance because of the comment that Judge had put at the BAFTA Awards. I'd love to see where a feature film would take Randall, Jimmy, and Walker. I thought, yeah, so would I. So I started to write a script, and it wasn't called The Sudden Fury at that time. It was just Bitter Vengeance Part 2, I think I called it. Because in my mind, I was going to shoot it on the same format and then just edit it together with what we'd already shot and have a feature. But no. Right, okay. So in that sort of 93, 94, through Alistair and our sort of friend circle, we met up with a guy called Peter Dobson. Now, Peter had his own edit suite, had his own old U-matic broadcast cameras that used for TV. So, believe it or not, Sudden Fury was shot on U-matic. And then at some point, it swapped to high band U-matic. So some's low band and some's high band. Now, crazy, but back then, to VHS and to someone that had no budget or no money or no means of really doing a feature, it was at that time, it was like, I guess, looking at DVD to Blu-ray now. It was still a leap up from VHS. It was like, well, yeah, he's offering all his expertise, his camera equipment, and edit. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. So yeah, so 90. No, I had no idea. So the idea didn't really kind of firm itself up until I wrote the script for A Day of Violence, because I'd be lying to say once Sudden Fury was finished and its premiere was in Germany. So we went to Stuttgart, and yeah, it was a wild weekend. That was great, and all that I and Nick could think about was like, well, we just got to do a sequel. We just, because Sudden Fury's left so open. I mean, okay, he's been shot about 100 times, but it's Walker, But it's like Michael Myers of Hitmen. It's all right. It's okay. He might be stabbed, shot, chopped. It's just a flesh wound. So the Sudden Fury, he's sat in a car and he's been shot in the gut, in the leg, and the chest, and it's gone right through him at one point, and he's healed himself up by like Rambo. That was the scene Rambo 3. I stole the bit where Stallone puts the gunpowder into the wound and then lights it up to self-cauterize. So I plagiarized that, but Yeah, so that was all great fun. That was all great fun, and I'm really sorry, guys. I'm off. I've lost it again. I'm still talking about when did know I was going to do a trilogy? So after Stuttgart, we come back. We wanted to do Beyond Fury. Now I knew Beyond Fury, I had to do better than Sudden Fury. Now Sudden Fury, it was shot on high band low matic, U-matic, and it cost about 15.5 grand, all in, everything. And at some point, I had gone to a film festival up in London, up in Hampstead. It was an all-weekend horror exploitation film festival, and the first day we were there, in walks David Warbeck. So he just walks into the film festival, and I'm sat down at the bar, and with my mate Adam, and he says, "David Warbeck over there." Oh yeah, it is, and people start getting up, and and he just had a like a little A5 fanzine magazine come out by Jay Slater called David Warbeck, the Man in His Movies. I've got a signed copy of the front. It's a blow up of the front copy here, but I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, wow.
So that had just come out, and he was like a little guest star for that day. It turned out he lived 10 minutes down the road, and he was signing that. So, and we were, I don't know, we were sort of like 6 months into shooting Sudden Fury. And I said to my mate Adam, right, I cannot miss the opportunity of trying to get David Warbeck in the film. So, right, okay, I'm going to have to just make this up on the spot. So I queued up, and he was signing the book. And then I put mine down, and I said, "Oh, I'm such a pretentious idiot." Now I had my business card. I said, "Hi, David. My name's Darren Ward, and I'm shooting this low budget action movie called Sudden Fury, and I've written this character of Pike, and I would love you to be in the movie." And he kind of just stopped and looked at me, and he's like, "Okay." So he just wrote down his address on the back of my business card with a phone number and said, "Phone me next week." I'm like, okay, I had my book signed, so scuttle back to Adam. I'm like, oh my God, he's only just said, yeah, it'd be in the movie, come on up. And but it was a complete lie, small little lie. I had nothing written for him at all. Pike I just made up. It come into my head from the Wild Bunch, the character Pike from Peck and Puff. so like, yeah. So I went home and wrote this scene, these two scenes for Pike, and I went up the next weekend with the two scenes, well, and the full script. And luckily, I had a crash edit. Now, a crash edit was just an edit we did between two VHS type machines just to get a rough edit of the scenes that we shot. And I had a sequence that we'd shot up in some woods up in Salisbury. There's an 80-acre wood of woods up there that a friend of mine owned. So we literally wanted it to turn it into our own little Vietnam. So we had massive explosions going off, trees blowing left, right, and centre, with our actors running right the way through the middle of it all. And so I was able to go up to Warbeck's and show him this, and he's like, "My God, and you shot this on what? And what's your budget?" And at that point, and like with every movie I've made to date, I've started it without a budget, because if I sit around, I'll probably be dead waiting for a full budget to it doesn't just land in your lap. So I've kind of always started the movies. Let's pick a scene that's not going to cost much. Let's get the wheels greased, get the ball rolling, and then you find, oh, I got one, two, oh, I've got a few scenes of my film here, and that's it, bang. You then hunt and scrape around for each scene that comes up to make the film. And I know, Lauren, that you're probably well aware of.
Familiar.
Very familiar with that. But that's been my only way of making movies. I don't have someone to go, there you go, Darren, there's 100,000, there's 50,000, or even way back then, here's 10 grand. No, I had to find every penny of it. And That's partly rather the reasons, and not only that, because I've got people from all around the country involved in the films. It becomes quite difficult to just shoot in a block when. But we were really young. I mean, I was between 23 and 25 when we shot Sudden Fury. So we kind of weren't married and had kids and pinned. So we were a bit more free. We were free of our time. It's got more difficult as decades have gone on. Oh, I can't. I got to take. I got to walk the dog. What do you mean you got to walk the dog? I'm going to blow a house up and have loads of bullets. You want to walk the. But life gets in the way as you get older. So so Sudden Fury, yeah. So David Warbeck came on board. He played Pike, fantastic, and oh god, I was blown away because it's one thing to watch and admire someone as an actor, as an actress, as a director. Then to meet them's another level of I can feel them, I can touch them, but to actually for them to go, yeah, I think your script's great. I love this. I'll do it. I'll play Pike. You don't have to pay me. I'm in. Okay, well, Warbeck worked with Sergio Leone on A Fistful of Dynamite and Gila Testa. Done the Hammer movies, worked with Fulci on The Black Cat and The Beyond, worked with Antonio Margheriti on 6, 7 features, Umberto Lenzi, all the Italian greats as well. And here he was in my movie. And yeah. It was a brilliant 18, well, not 18 months, yeah. Brilliant, almost 18 months of knowing him. Sadly, he was already ill when I first met him. He had stomach cancer. So he passed away in the August of 97, and the day after his funeral I was doing the last scene of Sudden Fury, which was the car exploding with the man on fire as well. And again, with doing independent movies, it's if you don't ask, you don't get. So my philosophy in life is, oh, can I film here? Will you do this for me? Can I do this? Can I do that? If you just sit there wondering about it, you're never going to know. What's the worst people are going to say? And I still do that now. I mean, in my last movie, I walked up to a £15 million mansion, knocked on the door, and said, "Hi, I kind of live local. Can I shoot at your place?" And yeah, okay. So I got a £15 million mansion with £1 million worth of cars on the driveway, and he let my actors with no insurance drive the F1 McLaren, all on screen, less than 3 minutes of the movie. But that's 15 million on the screen for nothing. And it was me ringing the doorbell. And then when he answers the door, just give him a bit of a spiel. I'm local, I've done a few movies. I'd love to shoot here. It's a wonderful place. We can be in and out in a couple of hours. Don't need to get inside. They had a lovely Dallas kind of driveway, big fountain in the middle. So we just had the F1 McLaren car, and we just dollied alongside it, and then pan round to reveal this, the mansion. It's the money shot, and it costs nothing to get, but on screen it's worth everything, so it's always trying to think outside the box. And if you've got 10 grand, try to make it look like 40 grand. And if you've got 50 grand, try and make it look like 100 grand, because you're battling all the time, because you're independent. You've just got to, for me anyway, I've just felt you've got to take every opportunity, and whatever that scene is just try and make it bigger and make it look better than maybe what it is, and where you're shooting on your locations, try and dress it up. I love dirty, because my movies sit in that crime trilogy, the trilogy Sudden Fury, A Day of Violence, and Beyond Fury are that crime trilogy. The bad guys are really nasty guys, so they have really dingy headquarters, and I try and keep it really urban and and industrial as well. Grungy. I like it to look grungy. But yeah, I mean, so it kind of clicked with, let's do a trilogy when I was writing A Day of Violence, because I always wanted to do Beyond Fury as my next feature after Sudden Fury, but I knew it was kind of beyond my means at that time. And I also, my first daughter was born in 2006. And when I was writing the script for A Day of Violence, it's like, well, what would one man do for family? So that kind of gave me and I kind of wrote it really quick. It kind of flew off the page. And even though it's not a sequel to either Sudden Fury or Beyond Fury, but it's a trilogy. It sits in a trilogy because it's part of the crime trilogy. I mean, Sudden Fury and Beyond Fury, you got the same male act, same characters. But it's kind of an anomaly that it sits in the middle. But Nick is the lead character again, and Nick plays a character of Mitchell Parker, who, on a routine collection from a scummy drug dealer, played by Giovanni Lombardo Radice, he goes there to get a couple of grand, but finds 100,000 stashed in this beanbag. And because they're all kind of low lifes to some degree, decides, well, that's great. It's easy money. I have that. So kills Hopper, Giovanni's character, takes the money, tells his low rent boss to shove his job up his backside. I'm going to work for someone a bit further up the ladder, more money, a bit more sort of the limelight. But unfortunately for Mitchell, the first job from his new boss, Curtis Boswell, is go to Hopper and get my 100,000 that he's got. And he's like, So it's a kind of, Sudden Fury was a kind of very tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top action movie where, a bit like John Woo. I was very influenced by John Woo as well, and the heroic bloodshed around that time. So no one really changes their magazines on their guns. Okay, we might have had machine gun pistols, but those guns just go on and on and on and on. But, if John Woo and all the Hollywood action at the time were getting away with no one changing their clip over, that was good for me, So, no, we had a whale of a time. And and on A Day of Violence, the format again from Umatic, we shot on a Sony F1, which wasn't even 1080p. It was 1080i. This is 2007. We started A Day of Violence, and we finished in April 2009. So around about the same sort of time, because Sudden Fury started in April 95 and finished in August 97. And there's a bit of a gap, but I can fill in. I can tell you about gaps in a minute. But anyway, A Day of Violence. So so again, I didn't have a budget behind me, and I thought I'm not going to just sit around with this. I really had a bee in my bonnet, so I just went out and took a big personal loan, got that big chunk in, and then decided to go out and get private investment on top of that, because I just needed that core lump to start it. And A Day of Violence has got a lot of special effects on it. A lot of the money went on gun armorers. I don't like to muck around and have fake guns, even though I've had to on the last movie, and again we can cover that. There's many reasons why, but I did have real guns as well. But A Day of Violence, it was gun armor all the way. We had CZ-75 machine gun pistols that could fire off 60 rounds in 3 seconds. Spaz 12 shotguns, 45 Fire Stars, Uzis, Ingrams, you name it. And and we found this great location, which was a paper factory where they made the paper and pressed it and everything as well. And this, it was a great big warehouse. It had like 40-foot plus ceilings. So, and also, again, thinking on your feet, it wasn't in the script, but, at one point we were shooting and I wanted to get this grand shot that was quite high, and then saw a forklift truck in the corner of the warehouse. And because someone had to be on site with us all the time, because it was a huge place, I had to pay a guy just to come down and let us in and sit there. he'd phoned someone to come in from into work on the weekend to operate the forklift truck, and it allowed me to get a shot 30 foot plus of me and John, the cameraman, John Raggett, my cameraman, up in this crate on this forklift truck that, I kid you not, as it started to go up, it was going like that. But once it was up there, it was fine. And I got this amazing, panning shot that comes all the way down. And as it comes down past all this shelving and all this paper, to reveal this guy trussed up by bondage ankle bracelets, hanging upside down with guys stood around him with baseball bats. It was just such an epic shot for a small indie movie. So it's always like, there was something that, I mean, I don't mean this literally, but there was a saying that David Warbeck said to me. Joan Crawford said to him on the set of Trog, when they were shooting Trog, they were going to do a scene at a cemetery, if I remember rightly, and it started to rain. And it caused bedlam, and there was nothing else ready to go. So it wrote off the day, and everyone was, moaning. And Joan Crawford, the professional, all the Hollywood movies, it's all about turning shit into gold, darling. So basically, have a plan B, C, and D, and an E, and and that's never left me from what Dave said. And it's not about going on set thinking, oh well, I'm going to shoot at this shop, and oh, what if they say now I can't shoot? It's not that. It's like thinking on your feet, that because you're indie and you're flying by the seat of your pants sometimes. But in other times it's very contained, and you've got 30 plus people there, and it's like, apart from the $1 million, you're on a proper film set. Yeah, I mean, everything's looking great. You've got dolly tracks and jibs and all your lighting. But no, sometimes it's just about going back to how the Italians used to say that, some of their the synopsis. Another thing Warbeck told me, sorry, when he was shooting The Last Hunter with Antonio Margheriti, that it was on a lunch break that they decided to do the follow-up, Tiger Joe, and the synopsis and the ideas of that, because they're in the middle of the jungle. I think they shot in the Dominican Republic. Someone had a cigarette packet, so they just dropped the ideas for the next movie on this cigarette packet. That went back to Rome, and from there, the script for Tiger Joe was written. So it's like, oh, great, if only we could get a tracking shot, but we don't have anything. Grab an office chair, sit in that, the floor's smooth. Guess what? Many a time we've shot holding the camera, and you got a smooth floor. You've got all your steady cam. It's just stuff like that. So with A Day of Violence, yeah, no, it was shot in that time span. Again, all shot locally in Southampton. And Giovanni, how did I meet Giovanni? Do you want me to stop here and I'll give you guys something to talk about? Sorry.
No, go ahead, because he obviously very
Go
sad
ahead,
that
yeah?
Giovanni passed away, but he's a fantastic actor with an amazing career.
Oh God, I'm still so gutted now that he's passed away. I mean, it was a year,
Yeah.
couple of weeks back now, 26th. Yeah. So back in 2007. So the script for A Day of Violence was done, and I wanted someone like with Dave. I got spoilt with having David Warbeck in Southern Fury. I wanted to continue that trend on. I wanted to work with someone that I'd grown up seeing in all these Italian horror, police, giallos, all the different genres. So I was on MySpace, which was kind of around just before Facebook kicked off, yeah. And I can't remember what I was doing, but stumbled across this MySpace page that said in multicolored Giovanni Lombardo Radice across the top. And I just emailed and said, look, hi, I'm an independent film director based in Southampton in England, and I've just done a movie with David Warbeck, even though it was, at that point, we're talking 8 years since Sudden Fury had finished. But sent my letter over and said, "Look, would you be interested in seeing the script?" And he immediately fired back, going, "This is not a fan-run page. This is me. This is me. This is really me." All big capitals, right? And I've probably got the email sat somewhere. And so yeah, that was great. I sent the script over, and I said, "There's no real character in mind, but read through and let me know what you think." But I always knew at the back of my mind that the budget probably wouldn't to if Giovanni was going to come on board to fly him back and forth, because I didn't know when the next sort of set, even though I had a lump, all that was kind of broken up with the effects, and I knew where everything was going. And as I mentioned, touched on earlier, it's very difficult sometimes when you're doing something independent and you're relying on specific people, and in your little independent film bubble, you're not thinking outside of that bubble. What John does this, you do that. So if someone said, "Oh, suddenly got to drop out," it's like, it's complete bedlam. So trying to get people lined up and then guarantee everything's going to be set for getting Giovanni in for like a week's shoot or 2 weeks shoot was out of the question. So my heart sunk. He got back to me and he said, "Oh God, the script is amazing." I cried at the end, and I was like, "Wow, blimey, okay, wow, I want to do it. I do it. I do it." And I want to play Boswell, which is the main bad guy. It was exactly what I couldn't do because I knew it was going to be shot over, over a year at least. I just knew it was going to be over a year just because of how it has to work out. So I didn't want to keep him hanging on, and I was like, "Wow, we can't really do that." So I then said, "How about Hopper, the drug dealer?" And he came around real quick. He understood the reasoning, and he said, "Okay, okay, okay, I'll play Hopper." And Giovanni said he always plays his characters as an animal. So Hopper was a grasshopper, not that he was called Hopper. He called it and stuff, and he watched him as Hopper. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's great. So, and basically, again with Giovanni, I knew if he was going to play Hopper, we had to cast his neck because in the film, Mitchell slices his neck open before the credit sequence. Even this is kind of pre-credit sequence, and he bleeds out. And later on in the movie, they go back there a few days later, and he's been hanging around a little bit. So I've lost my thread, guys.
So we were asking you about how you managed to get him in the film, but I think you were telling us about
So
trying to arrange it.
I said about the neck, and the neck. I'm terrible. I'll bring it over. Bear with me. I hope this doesn't fall over on me.
Oh my gosh, is that his cast?
That's his original neck piece from A Day of Violence that he wore, and underneath is a stone cast of his. That's Giovanni.
That's cool.
That's sat at my house since 2007. We shot 2007 December his sequence, and the silicone, it's all there. All the tubing's still attached. It was zipped. There was an extra cable that's not here anymore, so it was zipped closed. So on action, when a knife went across, the cable was pulled, his neck unzipped, and it just gushed out. You can see. Well, you can't really see there's little zip tracks inside, but a wonderful special effect there.
Very cool.
Basically, Johnny, as he liked to be called, Giovanni, Johnny. Johnny would he came over for 4 days. We shot his scenes. Well, mainly one scene, but it's broken into two because they go back. We shot that in a weekend, and it was amazing. It's a bit like Warbeck. You know the difference when you got someone in front of the camera that, well, it's like slipping into a t-shirt or slipping a glove on. Excuse me. Different characters. David was always quite up and joyous, and Giovanni very reserved, very quiet. And it's like, Johnny, need ya. Boom. He's just in the zone, yeah. And he's amazing, absolutely amazing. So luckily, I I'm very good friends with him for 16 years, and I was very lucky to have an opportunity to direct him a third time with Tony's movie, which is The Sand. Tony Marden contacted me and said, Tony was, for people listening, was played a part in my third film, Beyond Fury. Tony was one of the bad guys that worked for Giovanni in Beyond Fury. So Tony phoned me and said, look, I've got this scene for Witches of the Sand, which is Tony's upcoming movie, and I'm in the scene and I've got a lot to do, and I'm not au fait, I've never worked with Giovanni before, but obviously you have, do you mind directing a scene for me? I was like, no, I'd absolutely love to. I'd absolutely love to. And I hadn't seen Johnny for, I don't know, about 8 months, because I'd popped over to Rome in the year before, and we hooked up there. So no, it was really exciting. Plus, I got to work with Silvia Colatina as well, who again, through just the destiny of it's like everyone I kind of work with, they always come off of a Fulci set. Warbeck worked with Fulci, Ian McGollagh worked with Fulci, Silvia Colatina, Fulci, Giovanni, Lombardo, Radice, Fulci. So 5 Fulcis. No, I feel honoured. I feel blessed. So no, it was great, and as it turned out, no one knew. It was the last time I saw Giovanni. And yeah, 2 months after that, he passed away, heart attack. So absolutely gutted, because he was going to be, we were going to do the trilogy in my new movie Lottie. He was the bad guy in there. Gennaro Cozzi was his character's name in Lottie, but that's now changed. But yeah, so wonderful man. He was really good. Every time I saw him, he always had gifts for my girls, because the girls were born. Ella was born a year before I started shooting A Day of Violence, because we started shooting in 2007, and my second daughter Summer was born as we were completing a Day of Violence. So he's known him really from birth. They got loads of little bits here and that from him. It's a real show. Yeah, I mean, it just come out of the blue. So yeah, it made me just sit back and yeah, and it's just how tenuous life is, really. And I guess as you get older. I mean, I've just hit 51, and yeah, the last couple of years, there's been people that I've known for 20, 30 years just suddenly passing away from this, that, or whatever, and it does make you, as you get, really appreciate going forward, and the stuff. Being blessed with being able to work with these guys as well. I mean, on Beyond Fury, I also got to work with Dan Van Heusen, who had done 26 spaghetti westerns between 68 and 72 in Almeria. Worked with Sergio Corbucci. So many. Duccio Tassari. And Spielberg, Band of Brothers, Werner Herzog's Vampire, Nosferatu, I should say. Loads and loads and loads of stuff. And again, he ends up in Southampton working with me, and again, it was great to work with someone that came with steeped in so much film lore and history. I'm like a kid that'd sit around any time I could say, so tell us about a story about this, and he would just regale me with stories of some of them unprintable. So yeah, so it was, and then A Day of Violence. So going back to your whole question of like 40 minutes ago, it was really A Day of Violence getting in the way of me doing Beyond Fury, which made me think, right, well, this has got to be a trilogy. Yeah, I mean, it just got to finish that trilogy, and the hardest thing I've ever done. It almost killed me making Beyond Fury. I kid you not. It was naively, yeah, naively. I just thought it'd be, things get easier, right? As you do stuff, as you take stuff on board, and you learn by your own mistakes. But it just seemed like every corner I was like pulling teeth. It was just so difficult. It turned into the longest production I've ever done. We started again. It's a pattern. All three movies started in April. We started shooting in April 18th, 2015, and we finished November 2018. Then it went into 18 months of post. It was ready March 2020. I had Cannes lined up, I had premieres lined up, and then COVID hit,
Oh man.
and it all crashed. And then I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to self-distribute. I've been around 20 odd years. The previous two movies of, they played at Cannes, Citrus, Fantasporta. They've been all over the world. I've been really lucky. It's amazing, these small movies, and you can't see, but I mean, there's just awards and stuff all around from these small movies, and but it took, it took 4.5 odd years to get it done, and but I'm like a bull to a red rag. So once I start something, it doesn't matter come how high water. I'm getting I'm getting the film done. So yeah, I was glad to see the back of it. But then, obviously, it was good. I guess I had time for post. I was absolutely rinsed by the end of it, because it caused issues in my personal life. It caused issues for work. It caused a lot of issues trying to get Beyond Fury done. And it was mainly, again, because we just didn't have the access to the funds needed to complete it. So every time something sort of came in, or was almost there, it got whipped away at the last moment, and it was just didn't know where it was going to come from. So luckily, we'd started making the movie. We shot the initial opening, well, not the initial opening sequence. So I'm going to start again with Beyond Fury. We started shooting in April 2015, and I chose the church sequence with Dan Van Heusen because he was just around 72 when we shot, and he was having some medical problems, and didn't know whether he was going to have to pull out doing the movie. So I wanted to, we'd been talking about it for like 7 years, because he contacted me kind of like after A Day of Violence hit social media, because it did really well. We got to number 10 in the ASDA film chart across the country, on Southfree, and that was a great feeling. And going in, and there it is on HMV, and all that sort of stuff was great, obviously. But he got in contact with me way back then and said, "Oh, I'd love to work with you." And it was like, it took me that long to get Beyond Fury started, and I didn't want to lose him being in the film. So my initial plan was to shoot there was a load of dialogue sequences that could be shot comfortably in different houses that we could just shoot in, fit the different characters, and no real expense. But though I wanted to get stuff done with Dan, so the church sequence in Beyond Fury was shot in a day. A great big 4K HMI lights up there. We had we had steady cams and dollies and jibs, and I kind of wanted to hit that scene with, right, this is how I mean to go forward with it. It's just, I wanted it to be the biggest of the three movies. I wanted it to look the biggest in every respect. The biggest set pieces. We were now shooting on a Blackmagic on a 2.5K raw image with 70s prime lenses. Yeah, so it looks sweet. It looks lovely. And everything really pops, because where we shot raw, Chris Nelthorpe, who did all the color grading for us and the online edit. He spent months and months, and you can bring up every little background bit to make the colors pop, and so it's like starting with a blank canvas. It's like I would edit here, and then because the files were so huge, because we were shooting in 2.5K, my Mac here couldn't handle it. So what we nicknamed Chris's Mac, or his computer, the supercomputer in Milton Keynes, I would edit here with crushed proxy files, and then Chris would recompile the edit with the raw files on the supercomputer, and then do the edit and then do the grade and stuff. So he would send down in the initial stages. I would get, and again, this was the new thing, because the other movies you would edit when you were done, and you would tweak whatever you were doing as you went along. But with the luxury with having Chris do the grade and shooting in raw, we had months, well, years as it turned out. He could tweak stuff and fly it back and forth and go, well, this is how it looks, really, popping in with the reds or the blues or the greens, and you could go anywhere with it. So as a filmmaker, that was great, because and what we managed to get was, the other two films are pretty drab and grimy all the way through. I mean, with Beyond Fury, all the exteriors over the 4 years, you wouldn't know it was a 4-year shoot. All our exteriors are just blue skies, sun's out, the gods were on our side, and everything really, really pops. That's my in word at the moment for Beyond Fury. It just pops. The colours are really. And there's a sequence of Giovanni who's got this pure, this red shirt on, and it's just like the red just kind of like jumps out the screen at you, just because of the intensity with the grade that you can go. So that was a wonderful sheen and added layer that I've not had on the previous movies. So we shot the opening church sequence with Dan, and again, it was just a dream come true to be able to turn up, know what you're doing with your camera and your lighting, and just have someone do those scenes as effortlessly as bread and a bit of butter. Do you know? It's just wonderful to sit back and go, oh my God, what I wrote, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, what I've dreamt about every day and every night. I don't know what Tony's like with Witches of the Sandlot, and I speak to other directors, and everyone's different. But with me, like with Lottie, I haven't started it, but the moment I finished it, it's all I can think about every day, every night. And you're doing something, and then something, I can do that shot by this, and it's just random, and it will eat away at me until I start. Anyway, so then after we did the stuff with Dan, I then went back to the original plan, shot, because I made our house, Gemma's house, and Gemma in the movie. Okay, so Beyond Fury is a kind of direct sequel to Sudden Fury. That came out in '98. Same lead character, Walker, same actor. So from early 20s, we're then in early 40s. And I just thought, Nick looked more, he just fit the character really well. He's just got a bit of grey in there, and he just had grown into Walker more. With that, we shot all the sequences here at my house, and that was quite a big block. So I had a lot of dialogue sequences, and then we had Giovanni over in 3 blocks. So we had him over to shoot the golf course sequences, and there's a torture sequence where we shot in a garage, in an MOT garage, and we just used it as a place where there's a chair in the middle of this big garage, cellophane all the way out, guy tied to the chair. Along comes Giovanni with 2 of his henchmen. One's got a hammer, one's got a bucket of water, and you're thinking, something's going to go down here. And the character's name is Skank. He's basically attacked the start of the movie, he's attacked Walker and his pregnant girlfriend on their way home from a meal out, and they've been taken back to this place where Walker's beaten up, and ultimately Claudia, Walker's pregnant girlfriend, she ends up dead along with the baby. Walker's left for dead, but he's Walker, so he survives. He comes round, he's in hospital, and as soon as he knows everything, what's happened, he gets the hell out of the hospital and basically calls up a couple of his old friends that owe him favors where he can sort of get some guns, get a bit of respite. And then it's on a systematically a one-man killing machine as he hunts down the kind of the inner circle of Ivan Lensovich. That's Giovanni's character as a Russian gangster, Ivan Lensovich. So you had his son, Spider Lensovich, and you had Travis, played by Tony, and Skank, played by Glenn Salvage. Spider was played by Gary Baxter. And great bunch of guys, and they all have very, very gruesome deaths. And it all leads up and it culminates in this big shootout. And we managed to get an old brick museum that had been built in the 1800s, which literally is 10 minutes from my house now. It's open to the public, and you can go there and show the kids, and the kids can make their own proper house brick, during the course of this of going through it. But it's great. It's massive. It's just so old. Massive chimneys and warehouses and stuff just full of bric-a-brac, and it just was ideal for our bad guys, sort of, headquarters. So the end, sort of the last 20 minutes of the movie is Walker just storming the den, if you like, using chainsaws, machetes, guns, whatever it takes to kill all these bad guys. And it was kind of like a fitting end, really. That at the end of the movie, Walker's, he's got nothing else to, I'm giving it away, but he's got nothing else to live for, So the end of the movie was just this again, and I was influenced by the end shot of The Long Good Friday, Bob Hoskins, and he's in the back of the taxi, got Pierce Brosnan at the front, and they hold the shot on him, just sat in the back, and that came to me when we were sort of on set shooting that last shot. I had my camera shots in that, and it was always going to do a 2-shot of them but it just thought, let's extend it. Let's just make this shot kind of almost feel uncomfortably a little bit long, of just Walker slumped against the guy that kind of trained him up all these years, played by Victor D. Fawn, who had made appearances in the trilogy as different characters. He was Lennox in Southern Fury, and he played Boswell in A Day of Violence. He played the MI5 agent, Mr. Smith, in Beyond Fury. So there's a lot of faces in the 3 features that you'll see pop in as different characters or same characters. And that's just my way of, I love, if you love working with someone, why change it? Get him on. It's the character that's changing. So you'll find that a lot of faces kind of in my movies kind of drift through the films, with a smattering of new ones on each film. But absolutely. And just to fill in a very small gap for you, between Sudden Fury and A Day of Violence, I shot a short movie on Super 16 on film called Nightmares. Again, another gruesome movie. It was about a fictitious serial killer who recounts to camera. So as a audience, he's talking straight at you, and he just recounts some of his past kills and why he did it, and you get to see him in flashback. And I was in Cannes in 2003 with Sudden Fury, even though it came out in Germany and a few other countries 98, 99, Spain, and that was 99. It didn't come out in the UK or the States until about 2002, 2003. So I was still in Cannes, and I got a sales. That first year I went to Cannes was 2003, and I got a sales agent with. I don't think they run anymore. They were Amps Hour Entertainment, and basically, I went back the next year, 2004, and they'd sold it to Thailand and Indonesia and other places, and I got my first sort of check in Cannes. It was great. Um, with Wells Fargo Bank on it. And I think, oh, that's Wells Fargo from all those spaghetti western movies I'm watching. You know, Wells Fargo's always in there, you know. I was
Awesome.
stringing things together there. And basically I ended up on a party run by Fujifilm. And, you know, like you do, a few red wines or beers and chatting away to a guy called Roger Sapsford. Now, Roger's since passed away a few years back now, but he was ran Fujifilm. And now I was talking to him about the movie Sudden Fury, and I said, look, you know, I want to do a short because it's been a bit of a gap. And I just want to hit festivals with a short movie. It's not too taxing. We do a short. We just get the name out there and get back in the saddle. Any chance you can get any free film? Oh, yeah. Give us a couple of weeks after Cannes. He said, give me a call. I'll sort you out. So me being in Southampton, my DOP for the last three movies is John Raggett. So John went across to Fuji, met with Roger, and came away with 4 tins of Super 16. And I was looking around, and a lot of short film festivals wanted films under 12 minutes, 11, 12 minutes. So that's what we aimed for. We had 40 minutes of film, and I had to get an 11-minute movie out of it. So we weren't going to have, you know, it's going to be pretty much a 2-to-1 ratio on shooting. So we don't run out of film. It's not like video and everything I'd known to that date. We just go again. Not a take. Darren, we're already through one can. You know, it's like you had to really rein it in and be very, very precise and not as lazy as you can be when you've got the option just to shoot another take. Because sometimes something in a take may not just go particularly right. So you think, well, I'll just do it again. But on film, if it was almost right and we didn't have much film, we went with it. And as it was all cool. So yeah, we shot on film, got that processed at Colour Film Lab. Again, no longer exists in London. The sound and all the mastering got done by another company that's just gone out of I've just forgotten them now. A post company. But they've now since disappeared as well. It's like everyone's just disappeared. There's no one left. But the film, I sent it off to a few places. And the biggest, we screened at the LA International Short Film Festival, which is here. That was the flyer. So we screened at the ArcLight on Hollywood Boulevard, and that was really nice, you know, getting it shown there. Ended up having a good chat. Andrew McCarthy from Breakfast Club there, and he was there with a movie, funny enough.
Wow.
So that was that was all good. And Nightmares went on to get picked up by Sky, and they showed it a couple of hundred times between like 95, 96 on Propeller TV. So that was good. So that kind of branched me over a little bit between that gap of 98 and Sudden Fury and A Day of Violence 2006. So I wrote a couple of scripts in between all that as well. There's one I got close to getting £1 million to do, but it fell through, so we never made it, called Insurrection, a 140-page zombie movie about a modern-day special ops having to track down and take out a reanimated special ops SWAT team of zombies from the 70s. And but they talk, but they just eat. But so it deviates a little bit from what I prefer, the Romero zombies. I don't like running zombies. Give me Fulci and Romero zombies any day. The shuffling kind. That's what I don't running zombies. No. So there's that. And
Is
in
this
between
also
each film, I kind of spend 2 years doing the film circuit. I mean, A Day of Violence went to we were in Portugal and Brazil and Scotland and Sitges, Cannes, lots of different places with it, and with Beyond Fury, as I touched on, I decided, because I've had Sudden Fury, no sales agents, did the sales myself. Day of Violence got a sales agent then, who also then kind of mopped up with other sales for Sudden Fury. Sales agents, I don't want to get into it too much because it could be quite libelous, but sales agents are good and bad. I feel as an independent, if you get a sales agent, and I'm talking about, you get a can, you get a sales agent to represent you worldwide, those guys can fly everywhere that you necessarily can't because you're an independent film director with no money or whatever. And then they know everyone and they get know who to go to. So yeah, why not? You hand it over. But what life lesson teach you of that is yeah, it's great. They can reach people and companies and avenues that it's hard because no one wants a cold caller, yeah. But unless your film makes enough sales in year one, you're forever going to be chasing your tail on a sales agent. For example, it's just an example. Most of them cap their sales expenses on a yearly basis of $25,000. All they did at least 10 years ago when I last had one. So they're allowed within a year to charge you, not me, but against the film, a capped 25,000 spread over maybe 7-8 different markets. Not necessarily that much, but even so. So I sign with you. Let's say today you go to your next film market. You don't make any sales. You get interest, which is great. You hand out flyers and screeners or whatever. You don't get any sales. Market 2, you get a small sale, but I could have incurred $3,000 to $5,000 on expenses because every time they wine and dine and fly and pitch up in hotels, it's spread. It's off the who's on their books. If you've got a $10 million movie, okay, you got under 100K, okay, you're still going to split it. You owe us for wine, all the expenses. It adds up. So market 2. You get a buy, you get small buy. It's great, maybe $4,000, let's say. You still owe 1. Market 1. So you make 4. I don't see anything, but the film's out. The film's out. You should be happy. The film's out. Market 3. They make a sale. Market 4. Make a sale. Got 20 grand. Excellent. I forget you're 22 now. You're still in the red. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Unless market 5, you make another big sale because down to 2,000 you owe them. You get 15 in. You'd see they take 20% is normal, so you'd see 80% of any sale. If you've got that 20,000 sale at the start, you're laughing. There's no incurred expenses. You've got the 20,000K sale. It's split, yeah. It's a guessing game. It's a guessing game because I've been there where it starts off with nothing, and then you do see money come through your sales agent. I'm not saying you don't, you do, but then at some point you're going to get to a point when the film's gone around a couple of years of markets, and it's old hat because there's everything new's coming in. So then your big poster at the start, at the front of the kiosk at the market is now on the side, now on the back. Now not there, but you got a small bit of artwork on the desk. Because it's obviously you've got to keep doing the fresh stuff, so you've only got a certain shelf life. So you really kind of got to get a sales agent and just and tickle the boxes that you're going to get sales straight away. But every market that every sort of time I've released a feature, because of the years in between, everything's sort of like really, really changed. What people would pay 10 years ago now, you just won't get. You won't get the same money. The same people that would say $20,000-$25,000 now for the one territory, they're offering you 4. Your film's bigger, your film's better. Doesn't matter. It's not a reflection on your film. It's the market. Everyone's going VOD. This physical media's dead. Okay, it's not, but it's dying, but it's not dead. So, everything's harder to market. The supermarkets now, from experience with A Day of Violence, going back to 2010, 2011, when I'm doing the marketing on it. At that point, apart from H&V and maybe one other high street store, it was already the supermarkets would deem what sells and what doesn't sell, because it's where everyone does their shopping, and that's why your Sainsbury's, your Asda's, your Tesco's, they would stock the big movies and smaller movies now. But those guys, you're at the mercy of them. Some of them, Tesco's would not stock A Day of Violence because of the title, let alone anything else. Change the film title. I'm
Is
not
that
changing the film.
because of children shopping with the parents?
Yeah, totally. Titles, artwork, it had to fit a mold. Now, I'm not creating the artwork. That's the distributor who's doing the artwork. I'm supplying them photos or whatever, but I don't get a real say on that. But obviously, so they would, the Day of Violence release was this. Sorry, guys, I'm just going to grab you something here to look at. So that was, you see, that was the UK. We came out on 101 film. So this Tesco's didn't want to stock that. Okay, it is quite bloody. Asda and Sainsbury, get to number 10 and 12 in the chart. So what does that tell you? Don't judge a book by its cover, yeah? And then here's a French release.
Oh, wow.
It's the first American release by MVD Visual.
Love that.
It's German-Austrian.
Wow.
And then there's three discs, 4 discs, booklets, posters, same movie, just different artwork. They did 500, all limited. So you get some lovely stuff. Taiwan.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
They
wow.
all chose that kind of thug with the.
They like the machete.
Yeah, again, that's Germany, German Blu-ray. I mean, it just goes on. I mean, and amazingly, about blowing my own trumpet, what is amazing to me is Sudden Fury. Still gets re-released now, 25 years plus later, for a 15.5 grand movie. I think it's on its 4th release in the States. It's out. You can get it via Dark Side Releasing. I think they're based in Canada, but they got the North American rights for Sudden Fury. I mean, Italy had never had any of my movies before, but they picked up all 3. So it came out in Italy a couple of years ago. Here's those ones. These are great covers. That's the Italian Sudden Fury.
Ooh.
All the splatter on the back. That's the Day of Violence.
Oh, nice.
With car crash. Oh yeah, we did a big car crash in that. Did a 50-mile-an-hour smash up. And my stunt man just was in the car, literally stripped the engine out off of the car, and it was running on a pot of petrol like that, and literally drove it 50 miles an hour into the other car, and then we CG'd the other actors in it. And we had a camera strapped to the car as well, a throwaway one, which did survive. So I got the awesome shot of it going right through the exploding car as he drives through it. And that's the Italian Beyond Fury.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
So yeah, I mean, that's really the trilogy. The trilogy has taken me all over the world. I've got, 40 plus awards with them, certificates and all sorts of trophies from India and Austria, and there's all sorts of stuff. Oh, you might like to see this, Lauren. Show you this. There's Tony.
Is that his face that gets shot?
Yeah.
Nice. So for viewers at home who don't know, one of the very first movies I watched with Tony was Beyond Fury, and he was so excited, and he didn't tell me. And then all of a sudden, I see my boyfriend's face explode on camera.
Yeah, that's here. I mean, I've got. I said I'd show you a few props. I mean, I've this prop here, very simple prop. In A Day of Violence, Giovanni's character gets pinned to a kitchen worktop by Mitchell with a knife. He just slams it straight through his arm. So we did the impact shot, real knife with a fake arm, and then basically this was strapped round, obviously underneath the clothing, strapped round Giovanni's arm, his clothing over the top, and it's just a simple, but it's in my arm. There's cut off tongues, and there's rubber guns that were molded off the real guns. So especially in Beyond Fury, there's quite a bit of with Tony getting smacked round the face by Walker with a gun. So it was just hard enough. Nick didn't hold back. He was just really smashing Tony around the face with that, but it's all right. It's okay. And then you got proper guns, all sorts of stuff, intestines, other faces. Prop. I don't know where I got this from. It's not one of mine actually, but it's a prop. Danny blood looks pretty good. So you can. It doesn't hurt anyone. And then yes, with Lottie, my new film Lottie. Basically, I kind of wanted to get away from a load of bald-headed blokes killing other bald-headed blokes. So as one review said, a lot of bald-headed blokes killing other bald-headed blokes. But no, I kind of want to get past that. Mainly also partly, let's be truthful, Nick has moved to Denmark, so it's not so easy now for me to rope Nick in and say you will spend the next few years of your life on and off doing my next movie. He's gone a bit far away. I think he did that on purpose, but that's nothing. But no, I'm meeting up with Nick in Germany next month, because I'm going over to Germany to talk to some producers. I've got someone that's very, very interested in putting money up for Lottie. So I'm going over at the end of June to a film festival over there where we've been lucky to win like Golden Glib and Silver Glib, which are the best feature film voted by audiences. So and Thomas, who I'm going over to see, the producer, he's friendly with the festival organisers that we've known for like 20 years. So we're going to go over, have a bit of a jolly, have a bit of a few beers, and talk Lottie, and then hopefully I'm not going to mention any names on the UK side just yet, but securing money in Germany will secure. I've got a company in the UK that will match or bump up what I need on Lottie. So everything's crossed. I haven't cast Lottie. Lottie's very elusive. I had an actress lined up for Lottie who I based the actual script on, because we just finished Beyond Fury, and I had a couple of runners on there, a couple of girls that were doing a bit of running, and there was on-set still photographer and things like that. And they said, "Oh, there's a picture of." I won't mention any names. There's a picture of our friend, and I think she's ideal, because I was talking about Lottie even at the end of Beyond Fury, and this picture they sent me just summed up exactly what Lottie was or needed to be. And I was talking to her all the way through, but unfortunately she's just been diagnosed with a particularly debilitating illness, not life-threatening, but enough that she won't be able to do it. So I'm kind of, I kind of need to find that cyberpunk Mad Max type girl, to feel, because Lottie's a survivor from the film. So Lottie starts off in the mid-90s, okay, and it's a country manor, and it's at night, and the only light coming from this country manor is from this great big double window, and it's all full of happiness in there. There's a girl sat at a table, birthday cake, balloons around, mum, dad, brother, and the opening shot. I haven't shot it yet, but here's the opening shot. It will just start up in the sky. We'll probably put a full moon in, because I want a full moon, and we're going to calm down, and then we're going to come down on a cherry picker, and then all in one shot we're going to come off that cherry picker on a steady cam and slowly go up to this window. So we end up framing just round the window, but at the top of the frame, you've got about a 2-foot gap. So we're looking through this window now, all this family stuff going on inside. Suddenly, and we haven't cut, suddenly 2 headlights hit the area above the window, stinging the music, whatever that's going to be, and they go off. Camera doesn't cut, it dollies off and shows them turning, this SUV turning up, or a Jeep turning up in a big sort of circular car park. 2 guys get out, balaclava, sawn off shotguns. We don't cut. Camera dollies back to the same position to the window. Happiness. We go in through the window. We're now in the house. Doorbell goes. Don't think your mum and dad will come until tomorrow. Well, you know, it's Lottie's birthday. They're excited. Da, 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 da. I get the door, goes to the door, just boom, blown straight back. The family get wiped out. And the girl has a throat cut and face plants the cake, blood everywhere. Credit sequence, modern day. We're in a gym. You can just hear this boom, 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 boom. Steady cam all the way up through this gym to the feet up. And there is a 30 plus Lottie covered in tattoos and piercings because she feels ashamed having survived. Her family are wiped out. So she shuns the family money. And she's living in squalor, absolute squalor, with drug addicts and everything. And she's trying to hide. And she's really pretty, but she's trying to hide. And literally, the film follows Lottie for a little bit. This is who she is. This is where she's at. And then, like all movies have to do, you've got to have the point of where she stumbles across one of the guys in a convenience store who's got a very particular laugh. And a guy that just before cuts her throat at the start of the movie, 30 years earlier, has got a very particular laugh. So she goes into anyway, leads her on a journey to an underground bunker, human trafficking, organ harvesting, but it's not about that. It's about, the film's all about Lottie. Lottie's now underground. How does Lottie get out? Lottie's got no skill set. She's not like we've shown her do a bit of boxing, kickboxing, but she's not a trained killer, and she's completely mute. Her vocal cords were cut, so she's completely mute. It's a different kind of film for me. There's not a lot of dialogue. The script's 39 pages, but it's a 90-minute movie, and it's all about Lottie, and it's very visual over narrative. It's going to be very Italian-esque, European. Dollies, everything's creeping. A little bit of handheld when we're down in the tunnels and that, but top side is going to be very 2 distinct flavors to it. But yeah, so I've got so Tony's got a role. I've got the bad guys. I've got Jeff Stewart, who was famous in the UK for playing Reg Hollis in The Bill for 20 odd years, a police drama. And I worked with him in Beyond Fury. He had a small role with Giovanni in Beyond Fury, playing Frankie. And Jeff is going to fill the boots of Giovanni, and the character names change. So we got our bad guys, but we don't have our Lottie yet. So I'm still looking for Lottie. But that's going to be the next movie. And I want to get it done. Unlike any other film I've done, I don't want to do it in 4 years or 3 years or 2 years. I'm going to do it in a year. I've got to have the budget up front, so there's no mucking about, no budget, no movie. Budget in place. I'm going to do it in 2 to 3 blocks within a year. And I want to shoot I'd like to shoot in a 6-month period, 6 months on post, bang out, just get it out. And I'll probably pinch myself if I can do that. But the thing is, doing it independently. I had on the last movie 80 people from all over the world. I was flying people in from Italy and Germany and America, all to turn up in sunny Southampton to do an independent movie of a budget of under £50,000. How I do it, I don't know, but that is why it takes so long, because I don't have flab on set. Who's there is who I need, and if any one of those guys suddenly can't do it, guess what? The one-man band's phoning the other 79, or the other 30, the other 20, whoever's cut, and trying to rearrange. And I'm sure, like you see from Tony's perspective as well, trying to get people from different areas just to convene for the time that you want them on. It's a nightmare. So, but we've done it, and I continue to do it. And I just feel I've had fun doing it. I wouldn't, if I had to change anything else, I just wish I could go back to Sudden Fury and have shot it on film. If I'd shot that on film, I think it's been a different ball game altogether. But it's been years of frustration in between years of, just having a ball. I mean, I write, I produce, I direct, I do everything. I wear 70 caps. I'm picking Giovanni up from the airport. I'm doing hotel runs. I'm doing the catering, set dressing, props, makeup, special effects. I didn't even talk about that yet, but I know I'm going on, guys. So just saying that's enough. Beyond Fury, with my pyro guys stuck in Ireland, I had to do all the squibs myself, and I hadn't done them in 20 years. So that was like trouser nail biting trouser clip time, because I had the first scene we did. Where I need a lot of pyros was in a nightclub where Walker goes into this nightclub and he hoses down 6 or 7 blokes sat on a big stretched out sofa with an AK-47. So there's going to be a lot of mess, yeah? So I thought, well, it can't just be all neatly hit with nothing else going on around it. So I literally had to lay out 40 bullet hits myself. And 40 doesn't sound much, but it's a lot with all the cabling. And that's 40 hits. It's blood hits, it's doing all the blood packs, everything. It took 5 hours to rig up. We had 2 cameras, and I had to be the one letting them off as well. No one had to do. So there are other cameras action. I'm not actually going to look, but we practiced the move of the camera to because Nick was there with the gun. So I wanted a shot so you could see him in real time hosing that person and not cutaways. So the camera had to move with him. And if it went wrong, it's completely knackered. 5 hours. I did my little prayer. Action. Just strike went off perfectly. Absolutely perfect. So that was great. And then going forward after that, it was a bit of a breeze. But no, I certainly didn't want to be doing that, because you just to get there, I was wearing 25 caps. And then I had to, do everything as well as the effects. But no, but that's the way. That's what you got to do. That's just I think you get a core bunch of guys and girls that follow you through each movie. It's got to be because they love it, yeah. I mean, they've all got the enthusiasm as well, and and as I say, I try and have a lot of fun on set. Obviously, we're there to get done what we're there to do, but it doesn't have to be. It don't have to be a bad time, does it? Because people aren't going to turn up the next day. They're going to say, "You're not paying me. Fuck you, I'm off." Okay. Yeah. So, no, it's been a really wild trip for me. I guess getting the trilogy out. I don't want to stop. As I say, the hardest thing is getting the budget. But this has opened a few doors. The script with Lottie, I feel, and I feel. We get the money wherever it's going to come from ultimately. But ultimately, I want to be shooting it this year. I want to be shooting at the tail end of the year. But as time ticks on, it's probably going to be next year. But things are in place, locations, things are being looked into. It's really, I'm at that stage now. I don't want to jump in too much further until I know there's definitely money there, because you start burning money that I'm never going to get back. So I'll get June out of the way, come back knowing that's a definite thing, and then I'm going to be all systems go on it. So thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity to talk for 2 hours. Good luck editing.
This has been great.
I'm going to have to do some separate cutbacks to you guys going, because I'm just like, does he ever shut up? Anyway, so.
No, it's been fascinating, honestly. It's been
Yes.
The
amazing.
thing is, I've got so many. I've not even touched the tip of the iceberg. Seriously.
That's the thing. I'm gonna ruin everyone's afternoon and ask you to tell one more story because
Yeah.
Tony said I cannot let you leave without telling us how you got smacked by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. Okay, right. Okay. Oh, so I'm writing a book. I've been writing this book about the 25-year journey of doing the ins and outs of doing this, the ups and downs of doing an independent trilogy. I haven't finished it. It's just ongoing. But this story is one of the stories. So, first year in Cannes, 2003. We've just come back from the Carlton or the Hilton. I was just looking around at the different sort of displays there and going in and seeing who I could have a chat with. And a couple of roller skater girls were going down the Croisette, stopping every now and again and handing out these big like flyers. So handed me a flyer. There's a very long story for it. Stuck it in my back pocket. Later that night, we were all like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" I was there with my wife Maria. We weren't married at the time, but yeah, wife now. And a couple of friends, Chris Bartha, who'd been going to Cannes for like 10 years previous to this. So it was like, yeah, come with me. Let's show you the ropes, show you where to go, where you can see some celebs. But anyway, these girls gave us this flyer, and we ended up back at the Hilton Hotel at midnight. And you have to have a tuxedo. So luckily, I'd taken a few bits with me. So we're all there, and these two great big bouncers come up and literally lift up two portions of the road of the street, and there were steps going down. Oh, okay. So we went down these steps, and we're walking and walking and walking along these alleyways. They've got great big 8-foot monochrome photos of all your Hollywood stars from, I don't know, the 30s all the way up, you know. And then at some point, and I always describe it as, if you've seen the first Blade movie, you know, the opening with the dancing in the underground
rain.
garage. Yeah. Well, you can just hear this. And we got to these two great big wooden doors, 8-foot doors. I kid you not, right? Doors swing open, and it's like you've just stepped into like and I always say it reminds me of like an Arabian harem. Not that I've ever been to an Arabian harem, but all plush voiles and crushed colours, real just purples and blues. And there was a bit of seating coming around, but there was other doors where this noise was out, boom, 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 with the music. And a lady comes up and says, "Oh, let me just check you're on the guest list." I said, "Oh, Giallo Films." "Ah, yes," she said. "Follow me. I'll take you to your VIP booth." And we're all like, thinking, I don't know what's going on here. These doors open. It was bedlam. It was like they opened the Blade. And you had like Radio 1 DJs. Yeah, I know it was Danny Rampey, and I think it was Pete Tong as well doing DJ sets. Now, in the UK, I don't know if they have them in the States at all. In the UK, in the countryside, sometimes you might go past a little building that's up on toasters. Have you ever seen it? It's actually not on the ground. It's actually raised up on like a little series of little toasters. Right? That's how I describe it. So the VIP booths were like up off the ground from the riffraff, you know. And they led us into this massive booth that it just stretched on. It seemed forever. So we sit there. What drink would you like? Well, it's either Magnums of champagne or Heineken. Well, I'm going to get a Magnum of champagne because then the first time I've been there, the first time I bought a can of Coke, it was £8 for a can of Coke back in 2003. So think of the inflation now. So with the three lads, me, Chris, and Steph, we said, "Oh, we'll have a Heineken." It was a small 33 CL bottle of Heineken. £80 for 3 bottles of beer. It lasted 3 hours, I can tell you. And Maria, I don't know what, I think she just had water. Anyway, we're sat there. And I just noticed someone come up at the corner of my eye coming along the VIP booth. And I looked round, and it was Jean-Claude Van Damme. And so I got up, and he said, "I'm Jean-Claude Van Damme." I said, "I know who you are." He said, "Well, who are you, and why are you in Cannes?" I said, "Well, I'm here with a independent film director. I'm here with a couple of action scripts, and I happen to be there with not the version of Beyond Fury we shot, but I had a script because the original Beyond Fury script was written in 2002, very different to what's on the screen. So I rewrote it many years later. So I was there with him, and he said, "Great, you're here with action scripts." He grabbed me by the shoulder. He said, "Come and sit down the other end of the booth with me, and we'll talk about your scripts." I'm like, "Okay, this is great." So I waved the others goodbye, went down the other end, and it was the craziest mix you could ever think of. So it was Jean-Claude, his agent, his ex-wife Gladys Portuguese, and his mum, who must have been in her 80s at the time, in this club.
Amazing.
We're sat there. Time goes on. In front of him, he's got this bowl of Evian, ice bottles of Evian, yeah? The son was telling me it's not Evian in those bottles, right? Because we were sat there chatting, and he's getting more and more Larry and that. And he says, and then 50 Cent, I always remember, 50 Cent in the club came on the track. So he jumps up, and if you've ever seen Van Damme dancing in a movie, he's got a very distinct dance. So I can tell you that dance is for real. He's like an ape. His legs and arms are everywhere, right? It's hilarious. His agent got really, really pissed off because he was dripping in sweat. You know, it's in this, God knows how deep underground we were, and there's hundreds of people, paparazzi there and that as well. So he comes back, he's dripping in sweat. He's got blokes hanging off him, girls hanging off him, trying to get photos of the paps. His agent's going nuts. 5-10 minutes, he sits down and he does a big huff. So if you imagine, I'm sat here, Van Damme's next to me, and then his entourage. This side of me was Maria, Chris, and Steph. So he sat there, and he picks up this bottle of Evian. Oh no! I've gone too far. So he sat there. He nudges me. "Come on, man," he says. "Let's act out a scene from one of your scripts." I'm like, "Okay, all right." And I picked one from Beyond Fury, which is in the movie because it's one of the scenes that's still in the movie. I said, "Okay." I said, you get back home, Jean-Claude. The door's open on the house. You go in, everything's turned upside down, and there's blood on the wall. There's no sign of your girlfriend. Okay, he says, okay. I said, there's nothing you can do. She's just disappeared. I said, you turn around, you're going to leave the house, and the phone rings. You pick up the phone, and all you can hear is the bad guys doing really nasty stuff to your girlfriend down the phone. There's nothing you can do about it. You're rooted to the spot. All you can do is just listen. Okay. So you can, let me grab something. So I'll grab this candle thing. So he goes, okay. So I'm on my mobile phone. I said, you're on the mobile phone, Jean-Claude. And he'd go, no, what is this? And I'd go, it's your mobile phone, Jean-Claude. And he'd go, okay, I'm on the phone. Third or fourth time, he'd just stop in and go, no, what is this? I look round this way to the missus, laughing, look round back that way to Jean-Claude, and I went, what's an empty bottle of Evian? Keep shaking this bottle at me. I've told you it's a mobile phone. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? It's an empty bottle of Evian, Jean-Claude. Look back that way. Whack.
Oh. Oh no, Darren, I think you're frozen.
Did we freeze?
Oh no, I think we froze him. Jean-Claude Van Damme hit him so hard, Darren Ward froze. Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh, you're back. I'm so sorry. It was at the perfect moment. You said that he like whacked you and then you froze. And so it was like he'd hit you so hard.
So he hit me. I went back that way. And because he's like, what is this? So I looked back around and I said, it's an empty bottle of Evian, yeah? So that was the smack. No, this is my fucking mobile phone. What did we just say fuck? I hadn't said fuck. I was minding my P. I was really... And I said, okay, Jean-Claude, so you're on the fucking phone. Okay. And he did the scene. I love you, man. He said, and he wrote his his suite number from the Carlton down on the back of my business card and said, drop your scripts in tomorrow. And we went our separate ways after a few more hours. Next day, took the scripts down, knocked the door. He took the scripts, never heard from him again.
No.
But I said to him, I said, be careful next year. I said, I'm going to come back and kick your ass. Oh my God. Honestly. And it's like, I never heard from him again. But that was my first time in Cannes, first party, and I guess first kind of A-lister, you could say. You know, it's Holly that I'd kind of met that close, you know, and it was weird. And then he went on, and you know, it was like Michelle Rodriguez, Bill Paxton. One year I gave a day when I finished A Day of Violence, I gave 2 copies to Eli Roth, one for him and one for Quentin. I said, please get again. Never heard from either again, but they were both massive fans of Giovanni, and they both went on record saying they would. This is going back before I worked with him, because he mentioned it when we were doing A Day of Violence, so pre 2007. They said publicly how he was, you know, he was in all the best Italian horror movies, didn't he? He was, you know, had the most gruesome deaths in films, which I kept up with in mine as well, with the slit throat and the disembowelment and everything that happens in Beyond Fury. I had to keep his cool on-screen deaths going. But yeah, no. So I said, I've just worked with him, and I'd love. Yeah, again, you don't hear back from these people, but yeah, and well, a good story that's going in my book is very, very, very quick. So quick you wouldn't, right? We're waiting for a taxi to go back to our place in Cannes, because one year, this is 2004 now, the year that Tarantino and that were there with Kill Bill 2. And I'd had a great day with talking to people, and we're waiting for this taxi to go back to Cannes La Bocca, because we didn't get right in Cannes that year. And I look round, and who walking along the Croisette is David Carradine, and you know, Kill Bill, and a young lady probably 30 years younger than him on his arm. Now I'm gonna have to stand up to do this. I hope you can see it. Let me see, because this was just great. Can you? Oh no, you can't. I'm gonna have to do it sat down. So he's walking towards me, and he doesn't even pause. This whole thing I'm gonna do, he doesn't pause. He carries on, right? So he's walking towards me, this young dolly on his back, on his arm, his shades on, and he's just going down the Cosette. And I went, happens to go, excuse me, Mr. Carradine, without even a pause. Fuck off. And he just carried on. It was like, it didn't even, his brain, and I can't say how his brain even had time to realise I'd said, excuse me, Mr. Carradine. It was already, fuck off. And he just walked off into the sunset. I thought, how cool is that? I just thought that is awesome. And because, you know, the bit that you guys may not find as funny about it is what was really cracking me up inside is in the was it late 70s, he had the program Kung Fu, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
And he played the Buddhist monk. Now I was obviously really young when that was on TV, but me and my dad used to love that. And you know, he was called Grasshopper, wasn't he? So I phoned my dad up from Cannes, going, you're never gonna guess who's just told me to fuck off. He's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Fuck? I said, you're never gonna guess who's told me that. He goes, hey, I said, Grasshoppers. It took him a few seconds. He's like, no way. I said, yeah. I said, Grasshoppers just told me to fuck off. And that's that. That's my Van Damme, and you know, an extra little Cannes story on top of that. But yeah, awesome. I mean, you go to Cannes, you don't, because you got that VIP pass, which, hang on, there's some in here, Cannes ones, different festivals. But,
wow.
Hang on. There's that pass there, that Cannes pass there. That's the difference with you being on one side of the cordons to then, because I don't know if you guys have ever been. When you get there, you got the on the Croisette, you got the film de marché where you have to go and pick up your all your passes and stuff, your VIP passes and that. That gets you into all the screenings if you can get in, and to all the pavilions on the beach. There's like a beach hut pavilion for each country at Cannes. So the difference was I picked that up, like, let's just say Friday morning, I'm working for the NHS delivering a laptop. Friday evening, I'm in Cannes, putting on my VIP, and then I walk into a bloody tent, and there's Bill Paxton and Michelle Rodriguez. I mean, how mad is that?
So
And then,
cool.
you meet Van Damme and get slapped round the face on a Saturday. On a Monday, I'm back in the NHS, fixing people's computers. It fried my brain. That difference, that 48-hour window of being where you want to be, surrounded in everything you've ever wanted, in a biggest film festival, people milling around you. You're actually there. It was such a bubble to burst when it was back to work on Monday. Right, go and fix
I
that
bet.
computer. It's like, do you know who I've just been? Do you know who slapped this cheek 24 hours ago? But that's just the nature of it. It's absolutely crazy.
No, it's amazing. I'm so sorry that we're gonna have to. I think
No,
we're
thank you so
but we
much.
have to have you back when Lottie does come out because
I'd love to, and and next time up in London,
it's
I
been
can
great.
catch up with you and Tony. We can have a chat outside of it on the camera. But yeah, I've got so many stories I could tell. But thank you so much for having me on. It's been great.
oh, thank you so much, and thank you from Chris and I and
Yeah.
Darren for all of our listeners, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries at all. I could go on for another 2 hours. Yeah, come on.
Well, that's something to look forward to at the London Horror Movie Club.
Up to.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
If you want to share your thoughts about this episode, please head to our Facebook or YouTube pages. We're grateful to Kukurbit, who made our music. Thank you for listening, and please join us next time for the London Horror Movie Club.